without even so much as a kiss on the cheek. The baby bears have just bent themselves over, pulled down their jean shorts, and given themselves over completely to the Moon Boys. But are the Moon Boys about to tear the unsuspecting perma bears a new one? Or is this all a trick, a trap, a reach around surprise? Bitcoin, along with the stock market today, was just able to defy the odds and give us a mini bust. But most importantly, by far, we are seeing something that I have been talking about for months, and here we go. Further continuation, a complete collapse of the DXY, already erasing in just the last month, basically more than half of the gains that we've seen on the DXY since July of this year. And you can see a pretty steep decline. We spent about a week holding right here. There is not a bunch of support as we make our way down to the next level of support around 100, a little above 100 on the DXY. And this absolutely has enabled speculators in both the stock market and cryptocurrency to wet their whistles a little bit as gigantic buying pressure continues to absolutely envelop the Bitcoin charts. Now, why hasn't Bitcoin dumped, right? Why is Bitcoin seemingly only going up? Is it just that the Moon Boys have spent the last 2 years working out and preparing for the biggest bust of all time? Or is there something else going on behind the scenes here? So one of the first things I want to look at is the entire cryptocurrency market cap chart, which, as we all know, completely initiated a bust about a month ago. It really started to pick up some steam about a month ago, and it's almost as if there's no turning back. Okay, we spent very little time below $1 trillion during this entire bear market, and we found a decent amount of support there, specifically after March of this year. And so the entire cryptocurrency market looks pretty bullish if you would have to sum it up. And Bitcoin itself looks mega bullish. Now, Bitcoin, I'm not even going to spend a lot of time talking about a pullback today because I spent a lot of time talking about that yesterday. Here's the deal, though. Yes, we'll get a pullback at some point. But guys, potentially the juice is just too loose right now. And Bitcoin is way too strong to really have any significant pullback. Is that possible? Absolutely. And I think that's what we might be seeing here. So if we take a look here, in fact, Bitcoin is right now running into potential resistance, kind of like the middle line of this ascending, broadening channel here, which it looks as though it honestly might even just squeak right past it, right out of it. But clearly for the past month, going all the way back to about October 24th, so literally the past month, Bitcoin has just been slowly inching up. And every time it looks like there might be a dump, Bitcoin is just putting in higher lows after higher lows. I mean, literally all of these are just, right? Here we have a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, here as well, most recently here as well. So this is some very, there's a lot of momentum behind this move. And it seems to me that, this is not something you see very often. This to me looks like there's somebody that's buying Bitcoin that has been doing so for the past month pretty consistently, pretty heavily. And so far we're seeing all dips get eaten up. At this point, I think a lot of people that are bullish on Bitcoin are honestly hoping that we do get a pullback. In fact, I see it in my comments. A lot of people are kind of like, well, I hope we do get a pullback. I want to buy a little more or something like that. I wasn't done stacking. I want to buy more Bitcoin, right? The thing about bull markets is that, we're at the beginning stages of one, in my humble opinion here. You're not really going to get that many chances. Really, you have 2 years to buy as much Bitcoin as you wanted. The market is that's one thing about bull and bear markets. When the market is when it's a bear market, the market is very unforgiving in terms of like no pumps. And just the opposite for bull markets. There's very rarely dumps, and when there are dumps, you better hope you have your limit order set for for those dumps to try and get some if you're interested in longing these markets. Now, guys, here we've been monitoring this. Here we are, we're getting so close to this golden cross for Bitcoin. Spent a lot of time yesterday talking about what levels to the downside, dumpy side there are. Honestly, I mean, we can use this bar pattern here. If we see another 2 weeks or so of gains of at least like 10% gains here, this is much more than 10% gains. But if over the next couple of weeks, we see at least 1 or 2 weeks with 10, 15% gains, and we truly have a continued really parabolic run for Bitcoin, honestly, 50K is not out of the target. Now, I want to think about what I just said there. So we have about a month left of 2023. The most bullish scenario, in my opinion, if we're looking for the most bullish thing that could happen in the next 5 or so weeks as we close out 2023, I think the highest that I think we could go is a little under 50,000, or potentially all the way up to 50,000, which, if you really think about it, is only a $12,000 move from where we currently are. And what percent gain is that? It's about a 30% gain. 30% gains in about 5 weeks is absolutely, we did that in about 2 weeks back in the middle of March. We did way more than that, about 50% gains back at the beginning of January in like 3 weeks as well. So these are not unheard of price levels or price targets. And just looking at Bitcoin right now and how the price action has been so resilient, guys, it's almost like a lot of people forgot how Bitcoin moves when we're actually entering a bull market. We have been conditioned for the past 2 years to only expect every pump has to immediately get dumped on from a bear market. Bull markets are different. Bull markets are so different, okay? So again, we have Ethereum, though. This is one of the reasons I'm just so insanely mega bullish here, is that Bitcoin is looking really good. But the number one altcoin, Ethereum, is looking just as good as a chart could look. It has been overdue. It's been lagging. It's over 500 days in a very bullish consolidation pattern with higher low after higher low, testing this exact same level of resistance around a little bit under 2,100 or right around 2,100. Guys, this is, I don't know how to say this more clearly, but if you look back, let's say a month goes by and you look at the chart and it looks more like something like this, where Ethereum just went like an insane rally, like 50% or something like that. Yeah, like a 50% pump. Man, I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, but like it's almost too obvious here. I think Ethereum is going to be doing really well very shortly, and it's absolutely going to bring up a lot of the entire crypto space as a whole. That's one of the reasons I brought up the entire cryptocurrency market cap, because this chart as well just looks like it is ready to just bust up to about 1.7 trillion ish over the next few weeks, which is about a third of $1 trillion to just be added on to the current market cap. We've already added about 40% of $1 trillion in the past couple of weeks as we were ranging and trying to get an actual breakout. I think the real breakout is a lot closer than people might be expecting. Now, again, we have something helping us. It's the DXY getting completely dumped on. It is the stock market also in a pretty good spot. We're getting ready to even challenge maybe the highs from July of this year, around 4,600. Only about 40 points away from that on something like the SPX. You can see that here, trying to put in another fresh high here. That'll be a really big moment too. If the stock market is honestly able to just gain those, let's see how much percent gain that would be. That's about like a 1 or 2% gain on the stock market. That is not a lot. And kind of set new highs for the year. Pretty much the highest we've been since all the way back in March of 2022, almost like a year and a half ago. That is just extremely bullish for these risk-on assets, and it would help Bitcoin, in my opinion, a lot. If we start really seeing this soft landing play out, and we're done with rate hikes, everything like that, guys, I think so many people have underestimated how bullish this can get. Now, with that being said, we're still kind of facing the same resistance along this trend line, so I'm watching that kind of closely to see if this really breaks here, if we can actually get a lot more momentum there. But holding the 21-day moving average is good. Even though it looked pretty weak yesterday, again, every time we test it and bounce, it's not really a bad thing. In fact, we do have this level of resistance right at about 38,000. And there's clearly ascending or higher lows here as well, with a potential ascending triangle on Bitcoin as well, with a price target above 40,000 if we actually get that breakout. So I don't like seeing Bitcoin trade this long at the 21-day moving average, but given the circumstance of where we are in terms of, like, if you zoom out, like where Bitcoin's at and what's coming over just the next couple of months, man, I mean, I think absolutely, I think it's important to be aware of the bearish targets and how we could go down. But also, I think too many people are ignoring the idea that, or the possibility that we just keep going up for a while. Maybe we run into zero resistance until like 50K or something crazy, right? Any real resistance, which I mean like at least a 10% drop in like a daily candle or something really drastic. Because most runs end, or at least have some cooling off, when we have massive wicks and on like a daily chart or even a weekly chart that show us, hey, we need to chill out for a little bit and the price is just not able to go much higher right now. And we have not seen that yet. That's the biggest thing, is we have not seen that yet. And as well, if you guys are interested in any bonuses, make sure to check out Femex or BitGet below if you want to buy any altcoins, or if you're interested in trading anything, you can just click the link below. It takes 30 seconds to sign up. Without further ado, it's for me.